Good evening and welcome to tonight's Dental Protection Town Hall live online. I hope everyone is staying safe amidst the current COVID-19 pandemic. These are unprecedented times and we appreciate the challenges that everyone is facing. But more importantly, our members in the healthcare profession who are dealing with even more. My name is Kim Lee, the Business Development Director for Asia. It gives me great pleasure to host this session with my colleagues, Dr. James Foster and Ms. Karen Thorpe.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi there.
No, thanks, Kim. I just would say good evening and great opportunity and a great pleasure to speak live to our members in Malaysia at what is a really difficult time. Both Kim and I had a pleasure of meeting with many of you in November last year when we presented in KL, Penang and Johor Bahru. And we were looking forward to the opportunity of meeting many more of you this year with our planned events. However, no one would have dreamed we'd find ourselves in this situation. And obviously, first thing to say is we'd like to wish everyone safe and well. Thanks, Kim.
And Karen, a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Yes, so I look after the operations side of things in the UK. My team work very closely with the Malaysian Dental Association, and we help to manage membership renewals, new applications, payments, certificates, all of that side of thing.
So, thank you, Karen. Tonight's forum, we hope to further share with you what dental protection is doing during COVID-19 and how we are protecting members financially and throughout your career. Medical Protection is the world-leading protection organization and members mutual organization. That is, it's by members for members. As part of MPS, Dental Protection offers protection for dentists and dental care professionals. Our philosophy is to support safe practice in dentistry to help to avert problems in the first place. This long-term security offered by our current space indemnity demonstrates our long-term commitment to members and the dental profession. We are a not-for-profit organization, a mutual organization, and we protect to support the professional interests of more than 68,000 dental members around the world, and with over 300,000 total members at MPS. In Australia alone, we have over 10,000 dental members. The Caribbean and Bermuda, around 3,500 medical and dental members combined. South Africa, 25,000 medical and dental. Hong Kong, 12,000 combined. Singapore, 6,000. And in Malaysia, 4,000 medical and dental members combined. As mentioned, in Malaysia, we do work closely with the Malaysian Dental Association. So, without further ado, may I ask James, Head of Dental Services, to proceed to the next section. James, before we do proceed with the release subscription discussions, could you explain and elaborate a little bit more about the dental protection and our brand promise?
Of course, Kim, happy to do so. And just a little bit further by way of introduction, I am a dentist. I was in practice, and like many of my colleagues who work in dental protection, we're in an environment where we've seen practice in action, and we know what it's like for colleagues when they're challenged. And in bringing experience of practice, we'd like to assure you of the support and acknowledgement and understanding of the situations and the issues that are faced by dental colleagues. And in the broader piece, the same across the medical protection with our colleagues, our medical colleagues, supporting doctors. And together, we're in a mutual organization, the purpose of which is to look after our members. We protect the careers, reputations, financial security of doctors and dentists. As you know, when a claim arises, there can be substantial costs involved, and the security that colleagues can have in being a member of MPS is significant comfort and knowledge and understanding that you've got a team there to help and to support you. We wish to provide the most expert, trusted and valued protection across the world. And this is in order that colleagues can provide healthcare without the worry of challenge and outcomes that are not favourable. So as a member-owned organisation, we're very keen to do what we can to support and protect members with the various challenges you face during professional lifetimes. Unfortunately, these problems will occur. We are human, and so are our patients. So interactions or errors are going to happen at some time. Our position is very much that we'd like to prefer to prevent problems starting in the first place. And rather than just being there to defend you when things don't go so well, and certainly we're keen to consider better ways of helping and supporting colleagues with advice in advance of difficulties arising, as well as providing a world-class defence when it is required. So we think of ourselves as working in a partnership with you, and we know that things are changing, and in the past few weeks we've seen the most incredible and rapid changes I think we've ever seen. We need to ensure we accommodate people's needs and ensure you are properly protected, and allow colleagues to get on with treating patients and allowing you to enjoy the career without the fear of litigation and complaints, which obviously can erode that. And we do speak to many colleagues who are unfortunately either significantly or perhaps sometimes disproportionately concerned about being sued or receiving a complaint. And that's what we're here for, to help and reassure and to provide that support when it's required. The more we can do to protect colleagues, the better. Thanks, Kim. Move on there. So I have had the privilege of being involved in Asia for several years, the last 2 years in a lead role from a dental perspective. And it's clear, unfortunately, that many members perhaps are not aware of the benefits of membership and the service they're entitled to, and perhaps don't understand fully the more detailed element of what MPS is about and what dental protection can provide, and the services in place to assist and support them. So I'll just summarize these now, if I may, in that membership provides access to expert advice and support, together with your right to request indemnity for complaints or claims arising from professional practice. We specialize in clinical negligence and risk management, handling claims, complaints, and disputes when they arise. I myself work with a team of 4 dental legal advisors, all of whom have been in practice in a variety of settings. And as I've said before, we know what it's like to be challenged by dental legal matters and the stress and anxiety it can cause. We've been there, and we're here to help. Now, when people are challenged, unfortunately, it can be a very stressful time, and subsequent to a significant challenge, you might find there's press involvement. So as another element, when adverse publicity can arise during or after a case, we can assist through our press office. So should you attract adverse publicity, we can issue press statements and act as a spokespersons to the media to shield members as far as possible from having to deal directly with press. And that's certainly a helpful element, because that can be ultimately pretty harrowing. Now, talking of stress and anxiety, we normally offer access to a counselling service, and that's usually on the basis of an individual who may be suffering from stress and anxiety as a result of complaints, claims, or dental counsel's hearings. The service is tailored and delivered by fully trained, qualified and registered psychologists, counsellors, and it's entirely independent and confidential. Well, during this period of COVID, we're extending the counselling service as a result of the pandemic. So if you are experiencing any work-related stress or stress you feel is impacting on your practice, please don't hesitate to use this service. It's provided through a third-party partner, and it's completely confidential, completely separate to ourselves as well. So details are on the website to access it. We're not a party to the conversation, to the content, and please bear that in mind, because this is a difficult time. Colleagues will be having difficult periods, and we'd far rather someone took some help rather than kept it to themselves with the consequences more severe. Now, a major part of what we provide is risk management material and online learning publications. I will touch on that quickly, because with the need for compulsory indemnity coming in, we are looking at a situation where members will be able to obtain free a significant amount of CPD, and we'd urge all members to have a look at the websites. In terms of the mutuality, if we go back to the top of the slide, this is a significant point and one that many colleagues may not fully understand. MPS was started when a group of doctors got together to share their risk more than 125 years ago now and provide mutual support. So we are a mutual organisation where our only concern is our members' well-being. We're not an insurance company, so we don't have to worry about shareholders. We don't have people taking profits from the organisation to go elsewhere. So every ringgit of subscription is put into running the not-for-profit organisation and put towards protecting the interests of members. One of the advantages that we have over an insurance model is that we can exercise discretion more widely, giving flexibility and creativity to ensure members' professional interests are protected. And the current situation reflects that. So we're here for the members and always keen to hear from members what more we could do to help, hence the purpose of this session. And if I might just mention a little bit about case handling, because we do have a different approach than insurers and competitors in relation to this. Team of 4 dentists, for example, for myself, for our colleagues in Malaysia. We also have case managers, we have in-house lawyers, and we utilize local panel expertise. We're keen on early intervention, so when a case arises, if it's appropriate, we can help resolve the matter promptly. If it's appropriate to defend, then we'll defend, but there may be an opportunity to resolve something promptly. Now, if once we've had the details, the records, we can assess a vulnerability if there's one that exists with the treatment, such as through assessment, planning or delivery or outcome, or in fact there's a vulnerability with the consent process not being valid, then we would work with the member to discuss these in a supportive, non-judgmental manner. We're on the same team, we're here to help, and if there is the need really to try and stop something escalating because there's a potential of criticism by others further down the line, if it escalated to a claim or a dental council complaint, then we can step in and help try resolve the matter promptly. This can be a first stage assessment by the team, or we can arrange to have, for example, a patient examined by another clinician or obtain experts' reports. And we appreciate that in Malaysia, unhappy patients often want a very quick resolution. So we'll always look to assist members promptly, aiming for same turnaround, same day responses. And just like to add, we can maintain professional integrity through communications to a patient. It's people say, you know, there's a in resolving, you're admitting liability, you're saying you're being at fault. It doesn't have to be the way. We can protect professional integrity and resolve matters without accepting liability. I just wish to add that. And of course, the other element that often we come across is that an apology if something's gone wrong, because it is not necessarily an admission of guilt. You can contact us directly for advice, and if a case comes up, of course, for a case, we can instruct the local panel when required. At the moment, we've got great support through Roger, Darrell and Lowe and Sharon Dallymore. However, we would urge members that they would contact us in the first place, and we can take it forward from there. So forgive me going on. It was just an outline of where we're at, what we do, what we enjoy doing to help and support members in Malaysia. Thank you, Kim.
No, thank you, James. So let's get right to it. What participants can see, if you're not familiar with Zoom, there is actually a chat forum. If you could open up the chat, and if there are any questions, feel free to post those questions. But let's start off. James, so why is MPS or DPO offering this relief subscription to members?
Well, we're very keen to support members in private practice, as we are aware that the members would have seen a significant drop in workload and the accompanying and inevitable dramatic drop in income. So therefore, looking at 2 options for reducing the subscriptions that are paid. Now, the first option offers you a subscription relief payment if you're continuing with any clinical activity. And the second option is available if you're considering ceasing clinical practice altogether for a period of time. Now, I think, should we pass back to Kim?
Sure. So next question I'd like to ask Karen. With this relief subscription, how is it all going to work?
So you're going to be offered a credit to directly to your bank account. In order to facilitate that, we'll be contacting you in the next 3 to 4 weeks to ask you to provide your bank details so that the transfer can be made directly into your account. So when we're ready, we will send you an email that will include a link to a secure area of the Dental Protection website. And that's where you will be prompted to enter the information that we need. It's important that we have your correct email address, otherwise you will not receive this email communication. We're in the final stages of developing the secure site, and we'll be in touch to confirm your subscription relief payment amount as soon as it's ready. Unfortunately, I can't give you an exact date at this time, but the current estimate is that it will be around another 3 to 4 weeks. So we do thank you for your continued patience.
Great, Karen. What if members did not had not received an email from us?
Okay, so if you haven't received an email, that could be a few reasons. We sent you an email on the 5th of May, just an update on the subscription relief. And the first thing I would suggest is for you to check your spam or junk folder in your email, because sometimes the emails go into there if they don't recognize who sent them. And if you still can't find that communication after you've checked your spam folder, it's possible that either the email address that we have for you is out of date, or possibly we don't have one for you. If you go to the website www.dentalprotection.org/email, that will take you to an online form where you can add in your email. We'll need to have some additional information from you just to validate who that email's come from. But then once we've done that, we will update your email address, and you should definitely continue to receive the emails going forwards.
Great. Karen, what about people who are about to join?
Okay, so if you'd like to join, you would need to go to the Dental Protection website, where you can select the country of Malaysia, and then there will be an option to join, which will allow you to download an application form. There's further instructions as to what to do with that when you've completed it, and we will review that, and then hopefully we will accept you into membership and confirm that in writing to you. Just to let you know that if you're not currently a member of Dental Protection, you would not be eligible for the subscription relief payment that we'll be making. It's only people who are already in membership. Great.
How about people who have stopped working, Karen?
Yeah, so as James mentioned earlier on, if you've really stopped working completely, then the most sensible thing to do is to defer your membership, which means that you will not have to pay for that period that you are in deferral. If you want to do that and you've completely ceased your practice, then I would ask you to contact the Malaysian Dental Association and let them know about the last day of your practice and also how long you would like to defer for. If you don't know how long you want to defer for at the moment, just let them know, and they will defer it indefinitely until you let us know that you're wanting to come back into membership. If you do defer your membership, you will only be eligible for assistance with matters relating to Good Samaritan Acts during that period. And also, if you choose to defer your membership, you would not be eligible for the subscription relief payment.
James, I think we spoke some time ago with the deferment. What are your suggestions with how members should be operating?
Well, I think at a time like this, we would just like to ensure that members fully understand the implications of a deferral, because if a practitioner maybe chooses not to be going into the clinic, and deferred their membership, then we want to avoid a situation where inadvertently they are practicing without indemnity should they be taking phone calls and giving telephone advice, or perhaps arranging for prescriptions for antibiotics from independent sources, or generally providing analgesic or referring patients on. Those still make up the practice of dentistry. So if you are going to be involved in advising patients, whether it be face-to-face on the telephone or on a video call, please make sure your membership is active in order that you are then in a position to respond and have assistance with any cases that arose from those exchanges.
So we've been receiving some questions, so I might move to the next section here where we have these live questions come through. The first one I'd like to ask is, what are some of the suggested precautions to take during this pandemic? I guess this is more of a clinical question. James?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a long list, unfortunately. You know, there's a lot being written. It's interesting. In every country in which we operate, we are probably seeing different standard operating procedures, different levels of PPE being discussed, different procedures, whether aerosol generating procedures are permitted or the environment in which they're not. And we really have to look at assisting our members and in an appropriate manner. The scientific papers, the incredible amount of scientific research that is going on. I mean, the world's just kicked off into the most incredible surge of scientific research from which the outcomes form operating procedures. They formulate how people should be behaving. We have to take deference to those and advise members to be up to date with their local guidance. Now, looking at the, you know, I'm sure people will agree, when you look at the Malaysian Dental Council's announcement, and you look at the material on the COVID, the recommendations made there, look at the amount of scientific references at the end. It's incredible how much detail is taken into account and how these are formulated. So what precautions should be taken in terms of clinical, in terms of procedures? Please follow the guidance that is set out for you in the framework in which you operate. Unfortunately, you know, as part of what we do, we're constantly having to, and that's our role, assisting members who have been alleged to or criticized from falling short of a standard, whether it be a clinical procedure standard, a consent standard, or another standard. And we would say, you know, look after yourself, reduce your risk, and stay within the standards that are appropriate to you. Should there be a situation where you find yourself perhaps what you consider to be for a patient's best interest in a real emergency situation, and you find yourself stepping out with what would normally be the guidance considered appropriate, then please make sure you record accurately the reasons that you're doing it, the time that you're doing it, the time relevance of the guidance, and just make sure that any actions you've taken are auditable and justifiable. So in essence, make sure you follow the guidance that you have. You've got some very good graphics and guidance from Malaysian Dental Association there. Greetings to my colleagues there, and the Dental Council. So I would just, as a headline, say, try not act within the guidance that is local to you, and keep up to speed with it as it changes. Right.
Another question that's come in is, will there be any subscription relief for next year if the economy still continues to be in such a bad shape? Maybe over to you, Karen?
Yes, so currently there isn't a further subscription relief payment planned. However, we will continue to monitor the situation and how it's affecting our members, and continue to support you in any way that we possibly can.
I guess a lot of the questions coming in related to COVID and obviously the relief solutions. This one says, does the relief coverage apply to the same in the pre-COVID policy? So I guess 2019?
So
yeah.
Well, is the question, can I have relief from last year's premium?
I believe so.
I think the approach of the organisation is to assist members at a difficult time that is present rather than a previous historical subscription, because we're looking for the fund, the mutual fund that people contribute to, that is in action now, and it is the purpose of the current situation for which this decision has been made to assist members, not prior. Karen, would you have anything to add to that?
No, that's as I understand it as well. The subscription payment will be based on your current membership grade. So 2/12 of your annual subscription based on your 2020 grade, as it is at the moment.
Here's one which is quite interesting as well. I've already paid in full for this year, despite the fact that I'm currently working part-time. I'm not working full-time. Do I get a discount, and how would that discount apply? To Karen, maybe?
Yeah, so the subscription relief payment is being made outside of anything to do with your membership fee that's already been paid. So as long as you have private practice, you do some private practice, whether that's part-time or full-time, you will be eligible for the subscription relief. But that will happen in the next few weeks. You will need to renew your membership for 2021 in the usual way.
Here are some technical questions, maybe over to you, James. Basically, legal implications-wise of suspecting treatments of patients under the dentist's care, for example, orthodontics, RCT, whether temporary or permanent. What are the legal implications currently?
So if I get that right, it's the issues arising from having patients where treatment is basically suspended during this period of time, where you can't have access to them and ongoing. Now, potential lots of different consequences, different situations arising here, and obviously colleagues will be keen to ensure that patients are not going to suffer as a result. The first thing is obviously I mean, it goes against our wishes and grain to not be able to assist patients. That's what we're there for. But in the circumstances, if there are patients where ongoing treatment naturally has to be stopped, and there's perhaps difficulties that may arise during that, I would say firstly, perhaps be proactive. We'll all be aware of the particular patients from our surgery who are having extensive work. Perhaps we should be in communication with them to explain the situation, talk about options as things hopefully get lifted. So I think the difficulty is we are effectively very limited in what we can do, and any subsequent complaints or litigation or indeed regulatory focus that may following this period has to reflect the situation at the time. So we would be measured against what was appropriate at the time, and if we are not permitted to open for routine treatment, then no system, whether it be regulatory or legal, should be able to make criticisms of following the current guidance. So I think that should be of some assurance. However, but as far as the patients are concerned, and they're your patients, they may take a bit of management, but perhaps be proactive, get in touch with them, make sure they understand, and any advice you can provide, please do. And as I said before, please make sure you're in a non-deferred, i.e. a current grade, if you are providing telephone advice or video advice.
Right. Okay. I think you've answered quite a number of questions that have been asked in that one answer. So that's terrific, James. One that's just come in is, what are the guidelines for teledentistry? Would you have any suggestions then?
Yes. Well, as we move forward in this, we're looking at the focus of today to be perhaps on the subscription relief. We are planning to do an event sooner rather than later, Kim, when we'll be looking specifically teledentistry and record keeping. We do have some information on our website in relation to this, and I would please urge members to go. If you look on the front page of the website, there's a frequently asked questions link. if you go through to there, and we do have these topics dealt with. In terms of teledentistry, we're in a situation where people will be calling patients, and maybe they can only provide advice, analgesia or antibiotic. It goes against everything we've done previously. However, this is still now, in this current environment, the provision of dental care, and therefore we're clearly supporting our colleagues in that, so please be assured of that. And we would say, make good records, make good notes, make sure there's you're following protocols when you're speaking, that the patient is, as far as you're reasonably aware, identifiable. You may choose to use videos. The consequences of that, where do you record them? Lots of issues to take into consideration. But as a general, just overarching view or concept from us, this is part of dentistry now. So please be assured that that's something you can come to seek assistance for, should any matters flow from that. We'll talk more about that at the future event. In the meantime, please go to the website and have a look at the FAQs. But yes, it's part of healthcare provision now, and it's been accelerated in much as this home working and home presenting.
Here's one for yourself, Karen. I think you've partially answered it earlier, but just maybe if we could flag it again. Do members need to fill in forms for the relief subscription, or is it done automatically for all members?
So we will look at all of the members who are eligible for the subscription relief, so they are doing an element of private practice. We will contact those members directly by email, and in order for us to make the payment to them, we will need to request their bank details. The bank details will need to be entered onto a secure area of the Dental Protection website, and no other information will be required. It's very straightforward. So once you've done that, we will then be in touch with you again to let you know when to expect the payment to be made into your account.
Fantastic. Here's one which is quite interesting. The box effect, or the safety of the box effect for dental treatment during this period of time. How safe is it, do you think, James?
Well, I'd have to defer on the clarity of that question. The box effect is probably describing something that I would be more familiar with terminology from a different arena. So perhaps if I might ask, can we take the details of the individual asking the question and let me respond to them directly with a little bit more research?
Okay. One question's come in saying, will dental protection reduce subscription fees for a further year as dental clinics are making losses and is anticipated to last for the next 2 to 3 years with a possible recession? Maybe a question for you, Karen?
Sure. I think the important thing that we have to remember is that we have a mutual fund, and we need to make sure that we are collecting the correct amount of subscription from members to have enough money in that fund to support claims that will be coming sometimes 1 year, sometimes 5 years, sometimes 10 years in the future. So we will look at the rates that we need. I can't say that we will be able to offer discounted rates at this stage. It will all be looked at during the annual pricing review, which is actually happening very, very soon. It's ongoing at the moment. And then the rates will be made available for the renewals for the 2021 membership period.
Great.
If I might add, Kim, just in back to the mutuality argument or discussion, because we call it argument, but it's just trying to get it across in terms of how we are positioned with members contributing to the fund that we all have at our disposal if there is a case or claim regulatory challenge arising. if we are looking at running that fund responsibly, then what are the likely outcomes of COVID? Will there be less litigation, or will there be more litigation? And if we are seeing a change in activity, we may see a change in whether there has to be more or less draw on that fund. So it's just really reassuring that this is about a membership fund, not profits for an insurer or third parties. This is about a fund that we all pay into, and the calculating the subs is obviously multifactorial, but on the basic premise, we have to see what is happening to the profession and the consequences of challenges that happen in each country. But please be assured that that's the position it is, and it feels very comfortable working in such an organisation, because it is a fund there to support members, not to make profits. So forgive me, I thought I would just put that in. We find when we went on our tour, Kim, in November, that I think we take some responsibility that we hadn't got the messaging out about what we did and who we were. And I think it's really important that we take opportunities to try and emphasize that we're different, because through no fault other than lack of communication from us, perhaps, people don't understand. So forgive me for reiterating that.
Sure. A good question here, which I think I already know the answer for, but I might pass it to either of you. Why is there a huge gap leap in the subscriptions from last year? Has there been more litigation, or what had happened there?
Shall I can take that. We with an increase, particularly in relation to certain treatments, unfortunately, it is something we've seen, and we have seen a leap in implant cases and also for short-term orthodontics. Now, they fall into the same category of an SP1, and sometimes colleagues say, well, why, if I'm doing short-term orthodontics, or sorry, like fast braces, I know there are different connotations of that expression, but orthodontics that's done by GDPs, you see a few of those cases and maybe less implant cases, but overall they form into the same actuarial band because of the amount overall. So sorry to say, in Asia last year, we did see an increase in those cases, and reflecting what I've just commented on, there was a need to increase subscriptions, but we have we are looking for a much more positive change, or no change going forward. So please be assured that it fluctuates in line with what's required.
So add on to that question, what about SP2?
What's that?
What about SP2?
SP2. Yeah. Well, just again reflects what the experience is in those types of treatments that the groups allow.
Thank you, James. As you were talking, I had a question about what the website was for the email address. So I've typed that on screen if you could see that. So it's www.medicalprotection.org/email.
Kim, that address will work, but it's actually dental protection.
Okay, apologies.
It's fine. That address will work also, but strictly speaking, it would be better to say dental protection.
Not a problem. Are there more questions?
It's an interesting point there, Karen, because we often have that discussion. Are you dental protection or are you medical protection? And I think clearly, dental protection is a subsidiary of medical protection, the larger organization. So some people know us as MPS and some people know us as dental protection. It is the same, so people are aware, that's all.
Yeah, I would just add there's a lot of very, very useful information on the website. So if you haven't visited it before, even if you don't need to update your email address, I would highly recommend that you would visit the website and have a browse around the different areas.
Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of the questions. There's one question here about next year. Karen, with all that's going on right now and the changes with indemnity requirements, particularly in Malaysia, when can members expect to start paying for their 2021 subscription?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Kim, because we've already been having a few inquiries from members along those lines. So as we understand it, the dentists will be needing to apply for their annual practicing certificate, and that will have to be submitted prior to your dental protection renewal date, which is the 1st of January. So this year, to allow you plenty of time, we will be starting to to send your renewal information to you from August. So that should give you plenty of time to make the payment and for the Malaysian Dental Association to send on your certificate of dental protection membership, which you will then need to include with your application for your annual practicing certificate, as I understand it. So expect to receive your renewal documentation during August.
And Kim, if I may, on the back of that, if I may, Kim, with the compulsory indemnity coming in, obviously that brings with it the need for compulsory CPD. And as I alluded to before, we have a wealth of material free for members to use. Jumping the gun, thank you very much. And whilst at the very start said our presentations when we come to see colleagues which are engaging and enjoyable, and I'm sorry we're not able to do that at the moment, and the workshops, they're also free, and they're also areas to explore for CPD. So there are further discussions to be had, but there's an awful lot of material that is available, and our understanding is that half of the CPD requirement could be met from the online element. So please do go and have a look and make an opportunity, because there is free CPD for you there. Thank you, Kim. I'll let you carry on with that slide then.
Thank you, James. I think you've covered it quite nicely. I think the offer that dental protection has is we're here to help members avoid problems before they happen. And this is central. This is central to the dental protection approach, so that we provide a range of risk management resources and workshops. So we do encourage members to take advantage of the PRISM online learning. It is free of charge. It is a benefit of your membership. We even have events and conferences that offer support and practical advice on very topical issues. I think recently you did one on teledentistry. It is relevant to health professionals as a whole. So we do encourage you to log on. If you see on the very first website and the first QR code, that is the website which you can log in. If members haven't logged in, they can activate their login details towards the right there. So that is available for those who wish to register, and those who've already registered to log in. And if you do forget your password, it also prompts you for a secret question. So you'll be able to reset your password at your own leisure. The other two links that we have here are our publications and resources. And there is a wealth of knowledge there, particularly our case studies, where it actually showcases real life, actual case studies that has happened. And basically we've anonymized a lot of the cases, but these are actual cases that have occurred and may occur in the future. So hence why it's best to actually understand what some of the risks are, so that you can actually practice in confidence. So with that in mind, what I'd like to do is say thank you to James, say thank you to Karen. Any last words from either of you?
I'll follow Karen if you want to.
Just say it's been a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to you and to answer some of your questions. And if you have any more questions, then if you can either send them to the Malaysian Dental Association and they will forward them on to my team in the UK, or you can email my team directly at malaysiamembership@medicalprotection.org.
Thanks, Karen. And I would just add that likewise, great pleasure to speak to colleagues in Malaysia. We would like to follow up with some webinars on more technical issues, the dental legal side of those technical issues. So we've touched on teledentistry, perhaps a little bit on record keeping, and those areas we could explore. Please, would you be so kind as to submit areas that you would see value in us covering in any future events? Because we're here to help, we'd like to help, and it's a difficult time, difficult circumstances, and if you could feed back to us areas you'd like us to explore, whether it be consent at such a time, etc. Very happy to help. Please let us know. Thank you.